Okay, let's go through these charts. This is the Nikkei on the daily chart. You can see from the big move from after the Japanese elections, from the lows of 8,400 up to 16,000, down to close to 50%, and now we're just bouncing underneath this 50 EMA. But the weekly bar is narrowly above the previous week's bar. So, yeah, it's quite a good close on Friday. What I'm looking for is, I think it's a lower high compared with these highs up here. I still think this is not good. I think this is bearish from the point of view that we can't get through that trend line. And if we come out of, we drop down below that monthly S1, I think this is toast. And I think we'll come down to 11,300 and possibly right the way down to 10,200. All eyes on China. There's a little bit of a credit crunch going on in China at the moment, and if we get, I'll look see if there's any Chinese data coming out this week in a minute. But we're in an apex here, and I think this is a bear flag at the moment, where all the highs, all the tests of this trend line are getting sold, possibly ready for dropping out. Obviously, Friday's close goes against that theory, and certainly the daily and the weekly goes against that theory. So I've got to be very careful I don't get too bullish, because if that 13,100 holds and we close, and the minute we close above 13,500, then we're going back to the monthly pivot. So, but I just like the way the 50 EMA is shuffling along, and the highs are getting sold into. Okay, so as usual, Monday's close will be critical. Now let's go look at the Dow. The Dow had two horrendous days of selling after the Fed day. The market did not like the idea that tapering is getting, quantitative easing is going to tail off pretty soon. We are below. I've got my fibs on these highs up here from 22nd of May, which is when he first made the announcement, and the low on the 6th of June, about a week or so later, a couple of weeks later. We bumped into, we didn't quite get to the 23.6% fibs, and we closed underneath that 6th of June test of 14,830. We just about held on, and narrowly closed above Thursday's close. So there is hope, but I would look for a test of that monthly pivot, 15,100 or 14,990 area to sell. Close above 14,850 on Monday, and that could prove me wrong, and we could see further retests of these highs. But all eyes on the Dow. I want to see how on the Nikkei. Sorry, I want to see how the Nikkei opens, and to see what reaction we get on the Monday night, the Monday open, to see where that arrives. So I would keep my. The trouble is with me this week is with my schedule. I'm in Paris on Tuesday, so if I sit tight on Monday, which I should do, and don't do anything, then I'm not going to be able to take any trades until Wednesday. Now that's no bad thing. You can see as I've just moved that cursor up to 14,970, that is a massive line in the sand. In fact, I'm going to put an alert on there just to thicken that up to remind me to watch that level. Okay, I think that level is crucial. If we bump into that, and I would look for short signals intraday to see if we can get down to 127, 161 extension, and ideally even S2. I'm essentially bearish. I think we're in the getting to the summer doldrums. I think all the good news is out, and it was priced in, and we saw a selling up here, and I think the Fed day has possibly really sort of showed us direction, and that any pullbacks now are to be sold into. Let's look at the FTSE. FTSE had a higher, interesting how it had a higher climb up there to 62.40 before going back to 61.30. That had quite a sell at, let me just check the time of that. It put in a reversal bar at, let me see, I can't see my charts, hang on. Can't see anyway. It bumped into this major resistance level, which is what the Dow, I was pointing out a resistance level on the Dow, the FTSE did that on Friday and then dropped. So I think this FTSE is weak, and any tests of, we've got a 200 EMA up here at 270. So we start closing up here, we start testing at 270, I will look to get short for that to come down to S3 at 58.74. Okay, it's on the FTSE. The FTSE kicked off a lot quicker. That started selling on Ben Bernanke's first announcement of tapering. So we sold off, we sat on the trend line, we pulled back to retest the hammer, we sold off, we pulled back, put in some topping tails, pulled down to S1, shifted sideways, and the highs got sold into, and we shifted down again. So that's why I would look for a continuation of that pattern. So any highs, particularly 62.50, to get sold into. Switching to oil, that is a pretty horrendous sell. We closed under the daily 100. I would look for 94.60 to sell, to get down to eventually monthly 88.72. Obviously we've got massive support there at 91.30. Let's have a look at the fibs. Last big move. So we've got 50% down here at 92.50. Nice round number, 92.50. Yeah, I would just look for that 95 retest, or maybe 94.70 to get down to these lower levels. Right, dollar pairs. Pound US is held at 50 EMA. The weekly has engulfed last week's price action. So we break 153.70. I would look for at least 150, at least. We have got, I think it's 150 EMA crossed here, but that is the main short zone. That's above the daily 50. So 154.80 is the area to watch. If I can get, I'll look at the markets after the Dow's open on Monday and see where we're going. Euro US. That's weaker. That's come down harder. At least the pound paused on the way down. This didn't really pause. We talked about retest this trend line, which we've got. We've just narrowly closed, just nicked underneath that 50 EMA. I would now look for 132 to see if that can now pull back down to at least the big 130. Or the US. Divergent RSI. Stopping bar with divergent RSI. So this one could, and it's incredibly bearish. Again, we sell off, we move sideways and pull back, we drop, we pull back, we drop, we pull back, we drop, we pull back, we drop. So pull back to 93.25, and that's a short. Close above 92.70, and that's tough. I think I would just concentrate on the pound and the euro, because otherwise you're just getting too short. You're getting low too low. You're getting short too low down. So I'm not concentrating. Okay, yen pairs, pound yen. Pound yen was a great one to trade this week. 5 days of buying. Look how that Sunday open 148.22 held for the first half of the week, and then we kept testing 152 the second half of the week. The weekly is a little bit of a stopping bar, but the fact we can't close above 152 suggests that we could just roll over. I mean, it was very strong last week, but strong in that it held this S2, but I think if we start closing below 150, and then we're going to see 144 pretty quick. Put the fibs on this last move. Look at the last big move, and you've got coming off the 50%, and then struggling up there. 152.23 is the top of the fib zone. Euro yen, slightly weaker still. That looks like a more clear, or a clearer, I should say, make it my English correct, reversal bar under the 50%, under the 50 EMA. So we break 127.78 on that one, and I think that is toast. I would expect these lower levels, particularly S3, to be caught. Quick look along. Ooh, reversal bar up there on the Euro CAD. It's a pretty strong move to the upside though. And we've closed above this 137.15. But a reversal bar is a reversal bar. Euro CAD looks short. CAD Swissy. Not a great chart. I would just leave that. Aussie Swissy. That's not a reversal signal down there. That is still struggling. Aussie CAD. That's a nice little. Look at the divergent RSI down there. It's come off that S2 hammer nicely, but we're not closed above the daily 8, so I would leave it. Gold. Any retests of 113.20 are potentially the next sell zone. This is just, I'm seeing this as a consolidation. I think they'll wait, possibly move sideways until the ATMA comes across and then leg down. Might well get a full retest of 13.44, so you might want to sit tight on that one and see if that high one gets touched. Euro pound. There's the strength in the pound showing through, because if that now breaks that, that's going to come tumbling down. I would expect to see 82.80. Yeah, I think that's shuffling. That's looking very weak. So pull back to the monthly pivot at 85.15. The euro pound is the next area to wait for. Commodities, soybeans, strength in the dollar. That's a distribution pattern up there. Strength in the dollar is dragging that one down. Rough rice, copper. That's not a reversal signal, so I'm looking at this as a consolidation, and 31.56, if we see it, could be the next point at which that could sell. There is a lot of support there on the weekly, but it's just not quite healthy enough. Bellwether stocks. We've got Vodafone looking pretty ugly now. We've got this gap down here. We could come down and fill that gap at 168. The market seems to have lost patience with it. Rolls Royce is just clinging on. We're under that trend line, so if we break 1148, I can see that at least retesting 1132. If I look at the supermarkets, Morrison's very weak, 295 to 260, and where are we? Sainsbury's took a beating back end of last week. We came out of that channel. BG, 1260 has been sold into, and that is looking ugly. US bellwethers, Bank of America, weak. I can see 1200. That's a sell at 1283. I think that could easily come down to 1162, at which stages I might look at the buy. Goldman's, gap down, close below. This is very short. 156 is a short area. See if that can come down to 145. And Apple is just not doing it either. That's a reversal bar up here on the 10th. And I would just stay out of Apple, and we'll look to see if there's any signs that could hold once the market settles down a bit. Okay, so yeah, just looking to see if we look at the weekly on this Dow. Just before I go, I'll just come back to the weekly. And so we've come off, we've peaked above that top of that channel, dropped back into the channel underneath that major support at 15,000, and so my target area would be at least 14,000. So it's 700 or 800 points down here. So the weekly support is 14,000. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and we will do Traders Roundtable. I will not be around on Tuesday. As I said, I'm in Paris, and then hopefully if I can recover, because I've got an extremely long day on Tuesday, hopefully get back into it on Wednesday. Alright, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you next update.